Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'll lead you step by step through each of the ABRSM Theory grades. Once you've finished your music theory and practice workbook, past papers are an excellent revision resource. I've worked through 2014 to 2018 papers and now I'm really thrilled to be able to bring to you 2019 practice papers as well. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download these in US letter or A4 to accompany each step of this series. There's a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and hints on how to best be prepared for your music theory exam. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like and subscribe, that would be fab, and please do share out the videos. And now we're going to crack on with Grade 5 2019 Practice Paper A, Question 1. Oh, that's Question 2. There we go. So first of all, we're asked to look at an extract of music, and then we're going to answer some questions below. So the first job, we're told, is to put in the missing bar lines. We're beginning on the first beat of the bar, and we just need to add some bar lines as we go along. So here we have a time signature of common time, which is the same as 4 crotchet beats, 4 quarter notes per bar. And so if you remember that, if I just diagram here, we know that 1 crotchet or 1 quarter note divides into 2 quavers, 2 eighth notes, or 4 semiquavers, 4 16th notes. So if you just bear that in mind now, so we have 1 quaver here, 2 semiquavers, that gives us a crotchet, so there's 1 beat, there's 1 quarter note. So we have 1, 2, 3 semiquavers, 3 16th notes, and then these 2 demi-semis, these 2 32nd notes, give us the equivalent of another. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 semiquavers, 4 16th notes, there's our second beat. And if we keep thinking like that, 1 semiquaver, 2, 3, 4 semiquavers worth, or 4 16th notes, there's our next beat. 1, 2, because those 2 will make a semiquaver or a 16th note, 3, 4 semiquavers, 4 16th notes, gives us our crotchet, our quarter note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's our first bar complete. So there's the bar line. And then the next bar. So we know that we have 1 quaver, half as much again is a semiquaver, and there's another semiquaver or 16th note. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 semiquavers or 2 quavers worth. So there's 1 beat. Quaver, rest, quaver, eighth note, 2 halves of a beat give us a full beat. 2 halves of a beat give us a full beat. So here we have 1 quaver, 1 half of a beat, and we have a semiquaver, a 16th note, and those 2 give us a semiquaver or a 16th note. So that's our beat there. 2 quavers equal a crotchet. Oh, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, that's our bar done. So off we go again. You could just work out where all your beats are and then put your bar lines in afterwards if you want to, just count afterwards. So there's 1 beat. Half and 2 quarters of a beat gives us another beat. And then here we have 1, 2, 3 semiquavers, 3 16th notes, with those there together give us our final quarter of a beat. And then here we have 3 quarters of a beat and a quarter of a beat. If it is that, like me, maths is not your strong point, what you could do, you could just diagram it out. So there's a beat, a full beat that we've divided into quarters. A quaver is worth half a beat, half as much again as your dot, and then there's the remaining quarter of a beat. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. They've given us that bar line, so that's a good double check to make sure that we've got it correct. So that's right, let's press on. So here we have half a beat, there's a quarter of a beat, and then these 2 demi-semis or 32nd notes, which are an eighth of a beat, give us our final quarter of a beat. So here we have a semiquaver. These two make a semiquaver. So there's two semiquavers. 2/4 of a beat make a half. There's our remaining half. There we go. Now here we have 4 demi-semis, 4 32nd notes, which give us the equivalent of 2 semiquavers, 2/4 of a beat. There's a quarter, and then these two give us another quarter, so there's a 1 2 3 4 quarters, which make us a whole. That's 3 beats, so 1 2 3/4 of a beat, and then these two give us our remaining quarter. 2 demi-semis make a semi, quarter of a beat, so there's another beat. 1 2 3 4 bar line. And you'll notice the last bit isn't a complete bar, it says etc, so we don't have enough beats. So that's the hard maths way. However, we know that the rules of grouping mean that we're grouped in beats, and so actually visually it's very easy to just see beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, beat 1, we have to do a bit of maths there, 3, 4, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. So visually you can tell as well, but I wouldn't just rely upon that, I would do the maths as well. So there we go, that's the first part of that question completed. Let's look at the next question. So now we're to give the technical names of the 2 notes marked X and Y. We're in A minor, so let's just step out the degrees of the scale. Don't worry about the accidentals and so on, the music deals with that. So that's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now then, X, we're in the treble clef, that's note F. So that's the 6th degree of the scale. We'll think about the names in a second. And then Y is a D, which is the 4th degree of the scale. So we need to know the technical names for these. Now the technical name for the 6th is submediant, and the technical name for the 4th degree of the scale is subdominant. If it is that you want to do a little bit more revision on these and you want to know why it is that these degrees of the scale have these particular names, I've done a video explaining this in much more detail. If you go into my Music Theory for Everyone playlist, you'll see a video entitled Technical Names, and that explains the reasons why these get these names. I'll put the links in the cards and the description so you can do a little bit more work on that if you want to. So now we're going to move on to the second part of this question. So again, we've got a separate extract of music and we've got some questions to answer here. So our first job is describing the chords. We're told helpfully that we're in B flat major, and we're going to be looking at chords 1, 2, 4 and 5. So if we're in B flat major, chord 1 is based upon B flat. I'm not going to bother with all the flats there because the music does that job for us. So after that, number 2 is C, D, E is chord 4 and F is chord 5. So I'm going to build up the triads, 1st, 3rd and 5th, build the triad. So B, C, D, E, F. If it is that you find it difficult doing that in your head, just sketch out a quick diagram of a piano keyboard. Even if you don't play piano, it's really helpful to do this, and then that helps you to just visualise. So we have a C, D, E, F, G, 1st, 3rd, 5th, E, G, B, and F, A, C. And as a double check, we know that we've gone 1, 3, 5, so this should provide the root note for chord 5, so they should be the same. Now we just need to also put the information, are we in root position, 1st inversion or 2nd inversion, so that will help us to finally get the full marks. So here, describe chord A in bar 1. Now it just so happens that your lower note is in the treble clef as well, but it doesn't change the fact that's your root note just because it's written higher up. So we have a D, an F and a B. So that's definitely a chord 1. All of the notes of chord 1 are filled there. But the lowest note is the D, and so we're in the first inversion, so we have a 1B because the D is the root note, the lowest note. Let's look at this chord, chord B in bar 2. So we're in bass clef and treble clef now. We have a B, a G, an E and an E. So that answers for chord 4 notes. And then our lowest note is the B flat. So it's the second inversion, so that's a 4C. So that's that done. Now then, below the staves, we need to write a 1C5 progression under 2 chords next to each other where it's appropriate. So 1C5, now it's quite hard work to look through every single chord, so let's just find out what we're looking for quickly and easily by finding the root note. So 1C has an F as the root, and then chord 5 also has the F as the root. So we're looking for an F that holds as the lowest note. So it could be this one, that's a note F, but then the notes here, so we have an F, F, but this C doesn't belong anywhere in chord 1, so that one's no good. These aren't note F, that's not note F. This is a note F, so let's see what we have here. So we have a chord F here. Now that's an F, C, E, so that doesn't help, but this F is still playing here. That's still holding, so that's still the lowest note, the root note here. So we have an F, a B flat and a D, so that's definitely chord 1C. And then here, F, A, C, that's our chord 5. So that's nicely sorted. That there, it's just making sure you remember that F holds there. So that's that one done. And then the last little part of this is to name the ornament in the right hand part of bar 3 here. Now notice it's got a little line through it. Let's just bring that down. There we go. So here it's got a little line through it. And so this is the classical name for this. It's like a crush note. The classical name is an acciaccatura. Bit of a mouthful there. Double C, double C. This is where you actually just sort of squish that note in, just pinching a little bit of time off the previous note ordinarily. Sometimes you can just shave it off this note, but ordinarily it's taken off this note and then that's still on the accent. You could call it a crush note, that would be acceptable. It's very descriptive. Alternatively, you can also call it a grace note. So any one of those answers will suffice. So that's the end of that question. I do hope that's helpful to you. We'll look at the next question in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you can give me a like, that would be really super. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.